Hi everyone, Ashley Mailloux here with the Daily Racing Forum. We're going to take a look at a stakes race this Saturday at Santa Anita Park. It's their 9th race. It is the Sweet Life for $100,000. This is on the downhill at 6.5 furlongs, and this is specifically for 3-year-old fillies. And looking at the field as a whole, I thought it was a pretty good group of fillies in here, a competitive bunch to say the least. And it's going to be 11 betting interest, or at least we expect that come Saturday. You can see morning line favorite, the number 4, Manhattan Jungle, 5-2. Frankie Dettori has the call. Some other names in here, Decorated My Life. Joe Bravo will be aboard. And then towards the outside of the page, horses such as Fun Money and Happy Gal, a bit of a long shot at 20-1, who I think's intriguing. Maybe if you're playing some trifectas over the weekend. But we'll dive into this race top to bottom. And we'll start with the number 1, Satin Doll. This one, one of a few for Doug O'Neill in the field. She was second last time out against grade 3 competition. Now that was on the dirt at 7 Ace. Prior to that, the closest she's been to a turf course is the synthetic surface at Turfway Park. And I know she was well defeated, but it was a deep field of 10. She was third, beaten by just over 14 lengths, and the top 2 were just clear of the field. And actually, the runner-up did come back to win next time out. In terms of her numbers, I do think she's going to have to step up in here, and she doesn't have a ton of speed out of the gate. Maybe you look at that most recent race, it was going 7 Ace, and they did go just about 45 to the half in there. But I just don't love her on the rail in here. And I mentioned she is going to have to take, I think, a step forward getting on the turf for the first time. The 2, Ragtime Rose, this one out of the Jeff Mullins barn. Exits the Blue Norther, who we'll actually talk about this race a little bit later. It's a key race. A lot of runners in today's field actually exit that race. It's been a while since she's been in the winner's circle with just that one time, which was her maiden victory back in October at Santa Anita. But that was going 3/4 of a mile. So she is kind of proven it somewhat near at this distance, just a bit shorter. She's going to cut back in distance from her last 2 outings. The number 3, Havana Angel. This is one that's been in stakes competition for both of her tries since coming over from Europe. She hasn't hit the board in either of them. I thought last time out at Golden Gate, she did take a lot of respect in the field and maybe just didn't handle the surface, but well beaten, actually finished last in there. So I'm going to need to see more from her to at least endorse her. I just don't love her chances against this group. Now, the 4, Manhattan Jungle, I mentioned earlier, morning line favorite in here at 5-2. Ran very well last time out. We're actually going to take a look at the Blue Northern, kind of a key race where several runners exit this race. You can see that she was the number 6 in this race. Towards the inside, Broadway Girls is on the front end, and it's just going to be able to kind of make the upset in here at big odds. But you can see Manhattan Jungle determined throughout the stretch. And you kind of look at the top couple runners in here. It wasn't the most eventful of races, to say the least, but I do think she ran very well. It was just her second start since coming over here. And her first start was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. So last time out, to see her get an on-the-board finish, she certainly demands respect in this spot. The 5, Pleasant Wave, also exits the Blue Norther. Didn't take any respect on the tote board, finished 9th in there. Prior to that, broke the maiden at 5 Ace on the Del Mar turf course, was very forwardly placed in that race and just held on to get the job done in the end. And I shouldn't say held on, but actually got up in that race. Her numbers are softer than this group. I do like Kazushi Kimura's climbing aboard her for the first time out. And the barn, always fun to watch in these sort of turf sprints. They do very well, especially at Santa Anita. The number 6, Decorated My Life. This one out of the Simon Callahan barn. I find this one to be very intriguing. We're actually going to take a look at one of her races, and actually for her, it's going to be 2 starts back. This is at Del Mar in the Jimmy Durante Grade 3 competition. You can see, looking at this field and the kind of the stretch run here, I don't think she had the cleanest of trips. She was on the inside, then she had to angle out and get some running room. And once she did that, she did kick home nicely. The winner was simply much the best favorite in that race, but I thought it was a good effort. I think with a cleaner trip, she does look live in this spot. I like that Joe Bravo's been aboard her in her 2 outings and sticks aboard here. He usually rides for a couple other outfits in this spot as well. So maybe a little bit of confidence in Decorated My Life. The number 7, Itzel, out of the Peter Miller barn, was actually claimed last time out, and that's when she graduated, was in for that $62,500 tag, and the connections decided to claim her. Now, they're only 10% first off the claim, and she was in for a tag, now stepping up to stakes competition. But I think the big thing for her last time out, she had some speed. She was going 5.5 on the turf course, so she does have that asset to her benefit, but there are a couple other runners here with speed. Umberto Rispoli has the call. The number 8, Excelia, was 3rd last time out in an effort, which is her first effort in a couple months. She was forwardly placed. She actually got the lead late and surrendered, which is something I'm not typically a fan of, but I think it was her first time cutting back from a mile in quite some time. You look at her races, she was sprinting earlier in her career, but had 2 tries in California at the mile. One of them was good, the other one wasn't, which was the grade 3 surfer gal. And I guess to her benefit, she's not facing Comanche country, and she's not also facing the second place finisher in both of those races. She did run well last time out. I expect this one to improve second off the layoff. The number 9, Naughty Lottie. This is one that also exits that key race, the Blue Norther, but prior to that had a nice third behind Justique. But that was on the dirt. So she's going to have her second time on the turf in her career. She's going to cut back. I think she's a horse that could get a piece in here, but I'm not sure of her turf form from what we've seen in that most recent outing. The 10, Fun Money. In terms of speed, this is probably the speed of the speed on paper. You can kind of go down the page regardless of surface. She's typically very forwardly placed. She was forwardly placed last time out, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt, and she just got kind of nailed at the wire to finish second. The big thing with her, she is going 6.5. She's gone this distance on the turf course, and she ran well. That was 2 starts back. She was just simply second best. So I do like her from her speed asset, and that the fact that she's run well on the surface and the distance. This is the other runner out of the Doug O'Neill barn in this field. And then to wrap things up, the 11, Happy Gal. If I could pick a couple more horses in here, Happy Gal was maybe a fringe player for me. I think this horse can step up, was going to longer distances, cut back last time out, kind of ran mid-pack in that field. I just think this horse, maybe second time going 6.5 in a row, could improve. Big price, I believe, 20-1 on the morning line. So that's the field. Looking at my top picks here in the Sweet Life, ultimately I did go to the morning line favorite, the number 4, Manhattan Jungle. I think last time out she kind of found the spot that she needed to be. She ran very well, and while she couldn't catch the winner, no one was really going to do so. Broadway Girls was much the best there. It was a long shot in there and ran very well. And I do think, kind of looking at Manhattan Jungle, the cut back from a mile to 6.5 should just be right up her alley. And the Michael McCarthy barn's done very well as of recent at Santa Anita. And then from there, looking at the others, the number 8, Excelia, I'll use underneath, as well as the 10, Fun Money, who I think is going to be part of that early pace scenario and maybe able to hang on for a share. And then we looked at that replay for the number 6, Decorated My Life. I think this one's going to improve. I know last time out was lackluster, 2 starts back against grade 3 competition. I thought she ran quite a race, good enough to maybe be competitive in this spot today. Good luck.